Today we'll be working in my workbook called The Chronological Study of the End Times, Part 1. This is from Rapture to Mid-Trib. So we're going to go to the table of contents and kind of do a preview of what we've done already. Chapter 1 had to do with rapture, and it matches real well with Chapter 4 of Revelations. Then in Chapter 2, I talk about the number of things that need to be in place or nearly in place by the time tribulation starts. That is the League of 10 Nations, the rise of Babylon, the Gog and Magog war, and the one world religion. All those need to be in place or have happened before tribulation starts. Now, some of them may have happened before rapture, but I do believe there's a time of 3 to 5 years between rapture and tribulation, where many of these could take place then as well. So that's where I've placed them here. And then we get into the seven seals. Finally, things are happening. The first seal is, well, first the title deed of earth. Jesus is able to take the scroll from God and accept it. And he's the one that's going to open the scrolls, which are the seals, the trumpets, and the bowls. So he takes the scroll and he takes and opens up the first scroll. Now we get into the horsemen of the apocalypse. We've actually seen them before in Zechariah. But the first seal is open, and that's the Antichrist. So he comes onto the scene, and we have a lot of ways to describe him, identify him from the Bible. So that's really good. Then a peace treaty is signed with the Antichrist starting it between Israel and his enemies. This is when officially the tribulation, 7 years of tribulation start, is when the peace treaty is signed. Peace treaty is signed. The Jerusalem temple is rebuilt. Now, again, it could have been rebuilt before rapture, but I think it's rebuilt now because it does say that they only need 3 years to rebuild the temple. Not in the Bible, but in latest figuring. And with the peace treaty, they should then be able to build the temple. So that's why I have it here. But it could happen before tribulation starts, and it could happen before rapture. But the Jerusalem temple has to be built before mid-trib and be usable and everything. Then we get into the second seal, which is war. The Antichrist is the ruler of the world. Some people aren't happy, so World War III happens. Because the World War III covers the world, you then have the third seal, which food is scarce, and then the fourth seal, which is death. And those are the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Now, the fifth seal is kind of a reverse. It isn't a judgment, but it's the martyrs who died because of their belief in Christ up under the altar. It's a very interesting passage, but it isn't a judgment like all the others. It's well, you never in Revelation, you never actually see the Christians and the Jews being crucified, being punished, being whatever. This is the closest you get to it. And it has already happened. You don't see it happening. So then the sixth seal is open, and that's cosmic troubles, and that's asteroids, meteors. The scroll, the sky is rolled back like a scroll. We don't quite know what that means, but more meteors and asteroids hit the Earth after this point. The sun is darkened, the moon is like blood. These things are the cosmic troubles. Then that's the six seals. Then just before the seventh seal, which is the trumpets, you have them holding the trumpets back before the 144,000 Jewish evangelists are sealed on their foreheads. And so that has happened. And then at this point, the murdered saints and martyred saints in heaven praise Jesus because finally, all the evil is going to be taken care of on earth and they will be avenged their deaths and stuff. Then we start with the four trumpets. I talked just before the four trumpets are blown. Fire is thrown down to the earth, and that's almost like symbolic of now the punishment's going to come for the prayers of the saints. And the first trumpet is blown, which is trees and grass are burned, and basically a third of the trees and all of the grass. Why a third of the trees? Because and versus all of the grass can grow again, but the third of the trees just helps reduce everything living on the earth. Trees produce shade, produce food, produce oxygen. All these things then will be dramatically damaged based on this. So then we are now going to go into the second. This video will be the second, third, and fourth trumpets. So, yeah, so let me go ahead and get to those. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, so that's where we are. Second and third trumpets are blown. All waters are struck, and we'll see that in a moment. Again, looking at the timeline, we are in tribulation before mid-trib. Mid-trib has not happened yet. All the water sources are struck. So Revelation 8 through 11. Then the second angel sounded, and something like a great mountain burning with fire was thrown into the sea, and a third of the sea became blood, and a third of the living creatures in the sea died, and a third of the ships were destroyed. Then the third angel sounded, and a great star fell from heaven, burning like a torch, and fell on the third of the rivers and on the springs of water. The name of the star is wormwood. A third of the waters become wormwood, and many men died from the water because it was made bitter. Okay. What did the second angel sound? A trumpet. And what was thrown into the sea? A great mountain burning with fire. What did the third of the sea become? Blood. How many of the living creatures of the sea died? A third of the living creatures in the sea died. How many ships were destroyed? A third. What did the third angel sound? A trumpet. And what fell from heaven? A great star fell from heaven. What did it fall on? And it fell on a third of the rivers and on the springs of water. What was the name of the star? Wormwood. What happened to a third of the water? Became wormwood and bitter. Is this part of several meteors or asteroids hitting the Earth? Possibly. Trumpets 1 through 4 all could be the results of asteroids, meteors, or comets hitting the Earth. What is wormwood? Wormwood is a plant in the Middle East known for its bitter taste. The word becomes synonymous with bitter in the Bible, Proverbs 5:4. But in the end, she is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Why is a star called wormwood? This may be translation error, or the star is named after its arrival into our view, and scientists were able to figure out what it's made of, which causes the name of wormwood. NASA scientists already know what a lot of comets are made out of. Comets normally appear with cyanogen. Astronomers state hydrogen cyanide on comets may be their source of cyanogen gas. Interestingly, the cyanogen gas mixes with water to form hydrogen cyanide, which has an almond odor and bitter taste and reportedly causes death at concentration of over 5 parts per million. How does a star affect 1/3 of the rivers and springs of water? The star must land on a major water source that is connected to underground springs, which affect a lot of other water sources. In many countries, people have wells which are connected to the underground springs. If a major source of these springs is contaminated, then all their wells are contaminated. Do you think these two trumpet judgments are caused by atoms falling from the sky? Why or why not? Well, it certainly sounds like they're falling from the sky. How does the wormwood star affect 1/3 of the springs? Hitting at the proper point. That's all I can think of. The fourth of the trumpet is blown. Yeah, okay. The light is diminished. So we have second and third, fourth is blown. Okay, again, this is in tribulation. The light of the sun, moon, and stars is diminished. What happens to the lights in the sky? Revelation 8:12. Then the fourth angel sounded, and a third of the sun was struck, a third of the moon, and the third of the stars, so that a third of them were darkened. A third of day did not shine, and likewise the night. Joel 2:31, the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the coming of the great and awesome day of the Lord. What did the fourth angel sound? A trumpet. How much were the sun, moon, and stars struck? A third, a third, a third. How much light of the day and night was taken? Third of the day and the third of the night. What causes the lights of the sky to darken? The striking of, they were struck. The debris from the asteroid or meteor that have just struck the Earth in the prior trumpets, or the soot in the sky from a volcano, seems to be a logical choice here. What is the result of this trumpet on the Earth? Reduced light would cause a lowering of temperature on the Earth. Reduced trees from the prior trumpet would give less wood to burn to keep warm, less light for any solar panels to work, or anything else that works on sunlight. It'd be like the dark just before the dawn, perhaps, or like a day with darkened clouds. If it goes on for any length of time, plant life would also suffer, and depression would set in to many people. Is this judgment permanent or temporary? As the sun definitely will shine bright enough in the latter part of the tribulation to scorch people, it appears the reduction of light from this trumpet is only temporary. What causes the lights in the sky to darken? Perhaps the soot from the prior trumpets. Is this reduction of light permanent or temporary? I think it has to be temporary if the sun is going to shine bright later. And I believe this is the end of this video. And I hope that you continue our series as we do a deep dive into the end times. Thank you. Bye now.